Hey everybody, I'm Madeline Sklar, host of the Social ROI Chat. It's presented by Managed Flitter, and we had an amazing time today talking about LinkedIn for business. And here with me is our special guest. Please welcome Clarice Lin. Hey Clarice, how are you?
Hi, Madeline. I'm great, thank you.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
that was
Although it's 11 actually. In fact, I feel super energetic after the chat. It's a very exciting time.
yeah,
So,
because it's late where you're at. You're overseas over in Europe, right?
yes, I'm based in London, in UK. Yeah.
That is so awesome. Well, thank you for staying up late to do our chat. And you've actually have been one of our regulars in this past year. And I just noticed that you are so smart, so knowledgeable. So it seemed really fitting to have you come on and be a guest with us and sharing your expertise with LinkedIn. And boy, was that great information. I mean, I am going to go back and read all those articles you shared. They were wonderful. We'll have a recap up in a few days, or actually, it should be up tomorrow on Managed Flitter's blog. But let's go ahead and have you tell us a little bit about yourself before we dive into some questions.
Mhm. So, I help small businesses and solopreneurs with their marketing strategy. So LinkedIn was one of my top platforms that I have been focusing on in the last about 2 years. So it's really amazing, and it helps to generate a lot of leads for businesses because there's been huge transformation on the platform so far. So it's amazing. Yeah, I mean, one of the other things I also do as well is content marketing in terms of like blog posts or creating video content strategy in terms of that. So it's sort of like LinkedIn sort of falls in line with what I have been doing.
That's awesome. There's so many social platforms, these days. And I know people are always saying, like, which one should I be on? And for me, it's Twitter. I love Twitter. I'm a big fan. And I see you on Twitter all the time. But what drew you to LinkedIn? What made that just seem like the one to be on and to really spend time and really become an expert at?
I think it's also a little bit of about timing and the tone on LinkedIn itself. So I was on Facebook before, and then I was on LinkedIn, and I think LinkedIn and actually Twitter as well, it's more in line with the tone of professional exchange that I really enjoy. And there's a lot of interesting, meaningful discussions around like, how personal development and business tips, different marketing tactics. So I find it's sort of like super exciting, and I find it very meaningful because a lot of people, they really want to form professional relationships. And the best part about LinkedIn is because it's a global platform, and you can actually connect with people you might not have connected with previously if they were not in the same company that you're working before. So it was like the best place to be. And coincidentally, at that point, LinkedIn was undergoing that transformation, and then content became a very useful tool to initiate that conversations and connections.
Right. And there's still some people out there that think LinkedIn is just a place to post your resume, and it was once upon a time. That's what we did with it, right? It was just a place to post your resume and look for a job. But these days, it has really become a place to connect and network, you know, beyond just looking for a job, but just to connect with people like we do on Facebook and we do on Twitter. So I love that there's so much to it now that we can really just, you know, grasp it and use it and make it a big part of our marketing strategy. And we were talking about on the chat today about, I know we talked about video and
Yeah.
long form content. And I just want to ask you real quick, because I'm a big fan of video. I think video is such a great way to connect because people see you. Like right now, people, like before we're doing the Twitter chat, which is awesome, but we're all on our own computers and we're just tweeting away, and it feels like texting with a bunch of people, which is awesome. But now they can see us and they feel like they know us, almost as if they can touch us because we're right here coming at them and having a discussion. And there's something so amazing about video. And I've been hearing that LinkedIn is really becoming a place for video now. Can you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So video was one of the platforms that's been placed more importance actually in beginning of 2018. So in 2017, it was all text, mainly because the LinkedIn platform doesn't have that infrastructure to support videos, because video needs a lot of bandwidth and stuff. So they only roll out to a certain number of people. But 2018, that was when there was the switch. So I realized, because I was regularly creating like articles, content, like text posts and stuff, it was gaining less traction. And on my LinkedIn feed, I saw a lot of videos coming in. So obviously, LinkedIn was like, okay, video is the way forward. And that's when it sort of picked up, and you can see video content all the time. So it became like one of the important content you want to focus on to become more visible, to grow your connections, and of course, make LinkedIn promote more of your content when people like or comment on your post. That's where you want to be at.
Yeah, it seems like video is becoming really a big thing on all platforms now. Like, if you haven't ventured into video, just do it and start doing it on these various platforms, including LinkedIn. All right, let's dive in and start with question number, and thanks for answering. Those are just some of the questions I had for you. Question number 1, why is it important for a business to include LinkedIn in their social strategy for 2019?
Because for businesses itself, it's becoming more of like a human connection. Many people are talking about it. You hear all these buzz terms, being authentic, social selling. It's all about being personal, showing your personal side. People want to connect with people, and if you're hiding behind a logo, people don't know who they are talking to. So you feel like there's sort of like an invisible wall. So for businesses who really want to make it big, they have to show their potential clients or audience who they are behind the company name. What do they stand for? What are their opinions on certain things that's related? What's their personality like? Can they be trusted? That's what you want to show as a business. And when that trust is cultivated, and that's when the lead starts coming in, the relationship starts building, and that's how you build up your reputation.
For sure. Now, during the chat, you mentioned a couple of really interesting stats on this question. You said that the monthly active users is up to 260 million, which is awesome. I mean, that's a lot of people, and that it makes up more than 50% of all social traffic to B2B websites and blogs. And you also mentioned 61 million LinkedIn users are senior level influencers. That's huge, right? Like, if you are trying to get in front of, I always say, if you want to get in front of big people, go on Twitter. Like, I've chatted with Gary Vaynerchuk on Twitter. That's pretty darn cool. But knowing that a lot of these people of influence are using LinkedIn, and you also said 40 million are in decision-making positions. I love that. But it's like, just go over on LinkedIn and start conversing with people you want to talk to. How would you approach, like, I get bombarded every day with private messages from people I do not know on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And they are like, hey, go check out my book, or go to my website, or go do this, go do that. And I don't even know them. Like, they haven't even said, hi, my name is John Doe, and tell me more about you. Like, no, it's all about them. Do you find that to be a common thing on LinkedIn?
Yes, it does. I'm actually still surprised that people don't realize that it's not about them. If you want to have a relationship, first you have to show interest in the other person. For example, like if they want to send you something, what I would have done is I would have gone to your profile, take a look at what you've written or some interesting fact you've written about yourself before I send like a personalized message like, hey, Madeline, I noticed that you mentioned that you're a Twitter expert. Could you share some tips or, something along those lines? Or I noticed you've created this interesting video about this. I have this question, things like that. And then you feel like, oh, yes, this person read my stuff. This person really me. Yes. And that's how you connect.
That is so important, because you made a really interesting comment there, that they took the time to read and learn about you. And that's so important. And then, ask a question or comment on something, because I will sometimes get someone that'll say, hey, I notice you're a podcaster. I'm a podcaster too. And when they start off with that, it's like, okay, this person took the time to read my profile to learn more about me. And we have a similar interest. We both like to host podcasts. So I think it's really smart. And I think we can learn a lot from, the people that do this right, so that's really great. Thanks for sharing that. Let's go to question number 2. What are the best types of content on LinkedIn?
So you mean best types? You don't mean the format? You mean like the type of post or?
Yeah, like what kind of content? So like, video and text. I know we talked about long form text. So what's the best, if I want to go, like I post articles, I read lots of articles every day. And what I do, my strategy that I've done for years that works well is I read lots of articles every day because I'm a constant learner. And let's say I read an article today about something with Twitter marketing and I want to go share it. So I share it out on Twitter, and I like to share it on LinkedIn too, because for me, my communities on all the different social platforms, they see me as a resource. They see me as someone that can help them. So I like to just share relevant information. So I'm always posting articles on LinkedIn, but I know I need to start doing more video over there. But you also mentioned during the chat, long form content like blogs and articles. So can you share a little bit, like what is some good content to put out on LinkedIn?
Right. So, usually, like if you have content around like how to, you can create like a video around it. It works really well. Or like a text post that's like simple, straightforward. People can sort of glance over it in 2 to 3 minutes. They gain something new. They're excited. They're like, oh yeah, I didn't know that. And then they will share it with their friend, or the comments, or they might have a questions. It's sort of like quick, because we have to remember that people on LinkedIn are not like people on Facebook where they'll be loitering and around the entire day. To remember, these people are actually working. And if they are not working or doing any business, I'm not quite sure that's the target audience you want to be chatting to about stuff. So the thing is, you want to create like content that's like around your business, about what you do. For example, for yourself, for Twitter, you want to talk about maybe the hacks on Twitter, maybe, or the tips, or the top 10 should nots, things like that. And people find it excited. They like lists as well, because that's sort of like very valuable to people, and it's straight to the point. Because if you do create like a text post itself, which is 1,300 characters, so you have to make sure you're using them wisely. And when you actually write too much, sometimes people can get lost. You sort of want to guide them. So when they are lost, it means you've lost them. So you want them to feel like, when you are sharing some information, they sort of get it, what you're talking about. They either agree or disagree politely. It's still sort of acceptable. And then you sort of form your rapport from there. For articles itself, the long form like LinkedIn posts, at one point, it used to be quite popular, but LinkedIn is not really prioritizing that much. And because if you write very long content, you're asking people for larger time commitment.
Right.
So if they don't know you, why would they want to read something that you've written that's like long form? So they are not sure whether the time put in is actually worth the effort or not. So that's something that you want to sort of keep in mind. And for video itself, there are actually 2 limitations. So there are some people who are time strapped, so they don't really like to watch video. They will glance over the text. So if you're creating video, I will highly recommend to write some accompanying text to sort of like summarize the main point of the video, because some people don't have 3 minutes. They might finish reading the text in 1 minute. So that's something to think about. And for example, like on the mobile as well, what happens is the internet connection, if it's not so good, they can't really load the videos. So that's something to keep in mind as well.
Yeah, great tips. Thanks for sharing all that. All right, let's just go over to the last question number 7. Because I know it's late and I don't want to keep you too long. I like talking about measurement. So how can a business measure their LinkedIn progress?
There's in the chat earlier, I think I've mentioned quite a long exhaustive list of metrics. So for example, like using the company page, you might want to measure the number of followers, the number of likes, and then how many people you're reaching through your posts, and looking at the comments itself, growing the page itself. But at the same time, if you have a team of people or you have a personal profile, use your personal profile actively as well to promote the company page. That's how you can start to grow the company page. Because if people like you as a person, they know, you're from this company, ABC, then they start to follow your company as well. So you can sort of like cross-promote things from there. And I think it's most important is like especially when you're like a company, if the company posts something on your company page, has the employees or the team, all of them can also take turns to actually share those content and write maybe some of their personal opinion. So each of those personal profile will be, the content shared on each of those personal profiles can actually go out to their actual network. Because that's what people want to do. They don't really want to connect on LinkedIn with company pages. They want to connect with people behind those company pages. So people first. That's the main focus.
Yeah, people first. Are there third-party tools where you can use that to measure your LinkedIn, or do you need to do it through the native LinkedIn?
Unfortunately, you sort of do it natively. There are a couple of people who have, what they have done is they have developed some tools like browser extensions before. But what happened was this year, LinkedIn changed some of their attribute names, if that makes sense. So previously, some of the extensions which you can automatically capture those numbers, are sort of like now it doesn't work anymore because they renamed their entire database. LinkedIn basically did that. So so I haven't really been using any of those tools before. When I started, I was like looking at it manually and sort of like looking every time I publish something, I'll track something manually. So it sort of helps to track my progress.
Okay, good to know. And last question, just one that I just thought of. What are some newer features that maybe we all don't know about? Are there some cool new features you like on LinkedIn?
Yeah, actually there is this new document feature on the text post, so you can actually share a piece of document with everyone. That's something quite new as well that just came out probably a few months ago. So some people are using it, some people are not yet using it. So that's quite cool. And for your company page itself, you can actually start putting up profile pictures and things like that. The long cover photo as well. So there's additional features which you can actually tap on. Oh, and you can do a GIF in a private messaging. That's what I was been doing.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, and so the thing is, right, because we're having a lot of millennials now, they are coming into the workforce. So there's been a increase in usage of GIFs and sort of emojis. And I also created sort of content around this topic because some people were like, GIFs, really? Is that really serious? They don't take them seriously. But in fact, definitely I'll recommend to put in GIFs. For example, if I know you quite well, I would send you a GIF. But if it's someone I don't quite know, and then you might not send, but then it sort of helps to lighten the atmosphere when you use tools like this. It sort of helps to generate some humor and rapport, and that's how you sort of strengthen the relationships.
I love that. That's good to know. I didn't know about the GIF, so that's good to know on the direct messaging. This has been really great, Clarice. I really appreciate your time today. You've been so generous with it. What is the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Right. You can send me an email at clarice.lin@baselinelabs.com, or they can visit my website at claricelin.com. And of course, don't forget to follow me connect with me on LinkedIn. That's where I post my videos and conversations across there. Super exciting. So we can extend our conversations there as well.
That's awesome. Well, this has been so great. Here's I just posted the link to your Twitter. I was able to get that up there. But feel free to go into the comments on Managed Flitter's Facebook for this video and post the links if you don't mind putting them on there later. And that way people can check it out. This has been so great. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you. And thank you everybody for tuning in for this was our first social ROI chat of 2019. And we're also celebrating 2 years. Oh my gosh. I saw the tweet you did, Clarice. Thank you. That was so cool. So yeah, 2 years we've been hosting this chat every week, and we have never duplicated a guest. It's been a brand new guest every week, and it's been so much fun being the host of this chat. So shout out to Managed Flitter. I'm wearing my Managed Flitter shirt today. So love Managed Flitter. Love that they present this awesome chat. So thank you all. We'll be back next week with Amanda Bond talking all about Facebook advertising. So until then, we'll see you out around on social media. Probably see me on Twitter. Take care, everybody. And bye, Clarice.
Bye, Madeline. Thank you.